Uh, hey, Michael, can I interrupt you quickly? Actually, I just realized I didn't start the broadcast on in Google Hangout, there's a broadcast, and that's when it records it. So actually, we weren't recording. We were recording on the stream, but can we start once again? All right. So hi, and welcome to the Soul Freedom Show. And we have a very special guest today. His name is Michael Monk, and he's the founder of the Avatar Energy Master Institute. The goal of the school is to help humanity understand empowerment via soul energy, how to form a unified collective consciousness, to understand the ascension process, and to guide them past all limiting belief systems. Michael is an energy master who teaches the arts of telekinesis, healing, out of body travel, and many other metaphysical abilities. He is unique in that he's open to the critical eye of the public, offering demonstrations of what they teach in order to show the mass consciousness, the interconnectivity of all things, of the true state of oneness that is the destiny of mankind. And with that, I welcome my special guest, Michael Monk. Hi, Michael. How are you doing?
Doing really good, Lokesh. Thanks for having me, and it's a pleasure to be here.
All right. I hear some kind of echo. Is it? I'm not sure if it's from your side or.
It's because you have Google Plus going and Skype at the same time, but on the broadcast there should be no echo, plus on the recording there should be no echo, but it's because we're logged into two streams at the same time.
All right. Give me 1 second then.
You can ask in the chat room if anybody's hearing an echo, but I highly doubt it.
Yeah, there's nobody there yet. Uh, in the in the Block Talk Radio, so we can start once again. There's nobody yet. So give me 1 second. But if I mute my Google Hangout mic, it won't record my
That's what
audio.
I'm saying. We have to have them both on, and we're just going to have to deal with this slight echo issue. Yeah.
What we can do is I'm gonna call into the number from my phone into Blog Talk Radio, and then can you dial into the number too? If you can dial in from Skype or anything.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can do it like that. So you just want to hang up everything and then?
No, not the Google Hangout, just the Skype.
Okay.
Yeah,
if
you want it.
You can go ahead and host it by the phone, and I'll just call into the show through Skype.
Okay, yeah, you can call in through Skype to the number.
Okay.
Yeah, all right. I think I can still keep using. Oh, I would have to hang up on Skype too, right?
Yes.
Okay. No, but I don't hear my echo, so probably I don't need to hang up on Skype. Or when you dial in, you mean?
Yeah. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to answer me. You're going to have to hang up on Skype to host the show over the phone.
No, I would see you once you dial in. I would be able to see you there, and I can turn your mic on.
Yeah, but you'll have to hang up this call. You know what I mean? Because this call is hosting Blog Talk right now, isn't it? Oh, you're already hung up. Okay, never mind. We're talking through Google right now, not Skype.
Okay. Yeah, I'm on both Google and Skype. I'm going to use Skype for the Blog Talk still and see after you dial in and I put you in, we'll see if there's an echo or not. If not, I'll dial in from.
There most likely will be, but we'll see.
Okay.
It's just because we're doing two streams simultaneously. We're doing Skype and Google Plus, and so there's a Google. One of them isn't going at exactly the same speed as the other one.
Yeah, but we are listening in only from Google Hangout, right? We are not listening into the Blog Talk, so I don't know why there should be an echo, because the Blog Talk is just to send the audio, right? We are not listening into that audio.
We are actually. It's coming through both streams.
Is it? Okay, let's try it. after you.
But we could just turn our speakers off on the Skype. Like you could just rehost it on the Skype, and we can turn our audio off on Skype. You want to do that?
Yeah, that's what do you have a speaker on? I don't have any speaker on. Like, let's try it. Let's just dial into Blog Talk because I see myself online on Blog Talk. You're dialing in now, right?
I'm getting a crazy echo from you now, like a 5-second delay.
Oh, you are? Okay, then I have to dial in. Okay, give me 1 second. Hang up on Skype.
Welcome to Blog Talk Radio. If you desire to speak to the host, please press 1 at any time, and the host will be notified that there is a caller in queue. Otherwise, please hold and you will be able to listen to the show.
Okay, I've called in. Do you see me?
Yeah, I see you. Yeah.
Okay, can you bring me in?
Yeah, 1 second.
Okay, how's this?
Yeah. You're in.
It's an echo, man.
1 second. Let me. Wait. How's it now?
Still echo.
You hear an echo still?
Yeah.
How come I don't hear an echo? Mm. You don't have a speaker on, right? And just your headphone.
Yes. Yep. Just headphones. Say something again.
Yeah. Do you hear me?
Yeah. It's echo. I don't know why. I'm not sure if there's a way to do this, man, without, because we're gonna have 2 audio streams going, and we can't mute Google Hangouts or you won't get a recording. And so the only way I can, it was pretty decent before, like there was a little bit of an echo, but it won't show up on the recording and it won't show up on the Blog Talk, and I could understand you good enough.
Oh, the first time when we started?
Yeah. Using Skype.
Yeah, but I couldn't hear you. I could hear your echo at that time. Like, maybe you didn't hear it, but I could. Yeah.
Jeez.
But I did the same thing with a friend of mine yesterday. What I'm doing now, we did a Google Hangout, and I had my phone on.
Yeah.
It was fine. But how can you? Oh, what you can do is, so you're dialed in from your phone, right? Or you're dialed in from the computer. Oh, from the Skype you're dialed in. Okay, that's. Yeah. Can you dial in from the phone? But
yeah, I'll give that a go, man.
Yeah, let's try.
I really hate holding the phone to my head the whole time, but if it's
no, you don't have to hold it. Like you keep it here. Like I'm keeping it on the table.
Oh yeah, I've never tried that. Okay.
Yeah, I did that yesterday. Yeah, it records it just fine.
Okay, let me hang up the Skype and try the phone.
All right.
desire to speak to the host, please press 1 at any time, and the host will be notified that there is a call. You are now in the host queue.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta hear you on the headset and then hear you on the phone too.
No, you don't have to hear me on the phone. Just keep the phone.
Keep it.
Yeah, just keep it on the table. It's just don't mute yourself. Just keep it there. That's it.
Okay, but I hear you coming through the phone. I mean, how do I stop that?
Don't put the speaker on.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, just a phone. Yeah.
Okay, how's that?
Yeah, good. You hear me fine?
Yep.
All right. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I just have the phone next to me, so it's recording that.
Okay. All right.
All right. I know there's so many options these days. It's hard to figure out what's the best way.
Yeah, at least it's possible to begin with, though.
Oh yeah, let's look at the positive side, right? All right, Joel was just pinging me. He was asking me if the show has started. Maybe I'll ask him to dial in so we can have some questions.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I sent him the number. Let me see, dial in number. Let me just send him.
And you're sure that my voice is getting picked up on Blog Talk too?
Yeah, I'm sure. As long as if you didn't mute your phone, right?
Yeah. I'm just, is it coming through loud enough? Is all I'm wondering.
Yeah, it should be. Yeah, that's what I did with a friend of mine yesterday. We tried it out.
Okay.
As long as the phone is just next to you, close to you, we're good. The other thing is, even if that audio isn't good, what I can do is I can get the audio from Google Hangout and then put it back in there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's just Blog Talk is just for people who are dialing in. So at least we get some questions from there, and later on I can edit it.
Okay.
All right. So let's start once again. It's okay. So you're okay to go up to 10 o'clock, right? I mean, we're scheduled for 2 hours, so it's already 20 minutes up. So you're okay for 1 hour, 40 minutes if you can go?
Yep.
All right. Okay, let's start again. Right. Hello, and welcome to the Soul Freedom Show. This is Lokesh Baba here, and we are broadcasting here both on Google Hangout and on Blog Talk Radio, and our website is soulfreedom.org. And we have a special guest today. His name is Michael Monk, and he lives in Atlanta, and he's the founder of the Avatar Energy Master Institute. The goal of this school is to help humanity understand empowerment via soul energy, how to form a unified collective consciousness, to understand the ascension process, and to guide them past all limiting belief systems. Michael is an energy master who teaches the arts of telekinesis, healing, out-of-body travel, and many other metaphysical abilities. He is unique in that he's open to the critical eye of the public, offering demonstrations of what they teach in order to show the mass consciousness, the interconnectivity of all things, of the true state of oneness that is the destiny of mankind. And Michael is, I've also attended some workshops with Michael, and he's a great teacher, and I welcome here. Hi, Michael, how are you doing?
Doing really good, my friend. Thanks for having me on the show.
All right, great. With all those technical difficulties, we are finally able to come online, and we also have a radio show live, so if there's any callers dialing in, we'll take them in later on. But how's your day going there?
I had a really good day. Had a student from the online course come down, and I was able to take her into the fullness of the type of consciousness that I'm experiencing on a constant basis. And you know, it's always just, it's so fun to see people's expressions, to feel their emotions when their mind gets blown and they experience the interconnectivity of all things, and that they're creating the reality from the inside out. You know, it's very profound, and it's my pleasure and honor to be a part of any soul that I help awakening. To be a part of that process is an honor.
Oh, yes, definitely. And of course, I've experienced that with you live in the retreat last month, and we had a lot of experiences. And we're going to talk about that later on. But why don't you tell us a little bit more about how you got started and what brought you to the energy and the teaching that you do?
Sure. And to the listeners, it could be a really long story. Like if I said it all, it would take up the whole radio show. So understand that as to why I'm going to compress it into 5 minutes so we don't take up the whole show. But I was in my mid-20s and not looking for spirituality. I grew up as a Mormon religion, and didn't pay much attention to it, didn't like going to church or anything. Watching a movie, and out of nowhere I feel a presence inside of my head, and I hear a voice in my eardrums and vibration going through my whole being. You know, it was a telepathic communication. And when I asked what I was communicating with, I was shown an endless host, millions, billions, trillions of human-shaped light being forms that were all speaking to me as one unified voice. And I identified it as God. It seemed to accept that definition, and began to communicate with me through the evening. And I was really shocked at the communication, obviously, you know, coming out of nowhere like that. And most of the questions I asked were biblical in nature, because it's the only thing I knew how to ask. But the voice kept leading me towards metaphysical truths, you know, telling me things about how reality is structured, vibration, you know, things I wasn't really ready to understand at the time. But anyhow, that sort of lit my soul on fire, and I started researching the best I could. And I started reading the Bible, you know, read the New Testament, read all about Jesus. And the telepathic presence inside of my head was telling me what the Bible really meant. So here I am reading the Bible, and it says, well, this verse is actually talking about reincarnation. It's like, oh, wow, you know, the churches don't believe in that. And it's like, this verse is all about the interconnectivity of all things. This verse is about the inner eye of the mind. And so, you know, the God voice was telling me things, you know, that churches don't accept or believe, that is actually encoded in the Bible. And, of course, I tried presenting this information to the elders of the church, and they, you know, told me that I'm dead wrong and that I must be communicating with the devil or something. Typical stuff. But during this, it was about an 8-year period where I kept communicating and looking for the answers in a religious sense, and nothing fit with the churches. But I began to become experiential in witnessing miracles by praying. The most profound one was that I'd stabbed my eyeball with a sharp object accidentally. This left eye really deep when I was home alone, and I looked in the mirror and it's bleeding and profusely, and eyeball fluids leaking out. And when I realized that I was going to lose the eye, my right eye teared up with tears, and then I was effectively blind. I was in darkness. And I said, well, wait a second, you know, I can talk to God. I've got nothing to fear. So I got on my knees and basically said, Heavenly Father, in the name of Jesus Christ, let my eye be healed. And I felt a wave of vibration come all over me, like super high, intense vibrations. And I get up and I look in the mirror, and the blood is gone from the eye, and the tears are gone from the right eye. But from the very center of my forehead, right here, a little thin stream of blood was running down. And I wiped it off, and there's no wound on my forehead. And I just went, wow. Like I was in shock. I wasn't in joy. I wasn't. It was shock, you know, like, right. What do I, you know, who do I tell? What do I do? What's next? And I got down all over the floor. I said, okay, maybe I hallucinated that I stabbed myself in the eye, and then maybe when I was praying on the floor, I cut my forehead. There was no blood on the floor, and, you know, basically all the evidence pointed to, yeah, you experienced what you experienced. And so that was quite a shocker, and it lit me on fire, you know, because I had direct access to miracles. So over the course of 8 years, I did the best I could, reading the Bible and praying for miracles from time to time. I had a yes and no relationship with the telepathic God communication, and if I had a question, if the answer was yes, I would get loving vibrations through my whole being. If the answer was no, I'd get an adrenaline, like a sinking elevator feeling in my stomach. And so that's how I knew, like, before I would pray for any miracle, I would just say, can I pray for this? And if it would say yes, then that would charge me with the faith. I'd get on my knees, pray, and the miracle would always be delivered. And this is including healing a lady of cancer, healing of incurable diseases like genital wart and hemorrhoids, and altering of the weather, and a few other things. So eventually I put all of that behind me because my family thought I was crazy, friends thought I was crazy, and I tried to completely shut spirituality out of my life. But around 2008, I was working selling cars, and I got a bug in me about 2012. It just heard about it, felt something. So I get on, research the internet. First thing I found was David Wilcock talking about it, and he kept quoting from this book called The Law of One. So I'm like, well, if that's what he's quoting from, I'm just going to go right to the source. So I started reading the book, and I started getting those Holy Ghost confirmations, the love, the vibrations, like telling me this is true. And I'm like, well, wow. This is material that would get you burned at the stake 200 years ago, and here's the Holy Ghost telling me it's true. So then what I was understanding from the book was it's talking about vibration, and that there really is no physical matter, that physical matter is an illusion of consciousness, that we're creating the illusion of form by riding the vibrations, turning our consciousness on and off so that we only are active at the peaks of the vibration. Well, it sunk in. You can read something and mentally understand it, and like logically, and you can read something and fully understand it from the heart. And that's what happened. I fully understood it, and when I did, I got hit with a tremendous energy, like even more than what healed my eye. And the telepathic God voice came in and said, good, now go outside and get away from people. So I did that, and when I stopped walking and stood still away from people, the whole world started rippling and fluctuating like that, just like heat coming off of a blacktop on a sunny day, but it was rippling rainbow light, and it was everywhere. And I immediately felt comfortable. I was like, I know this place. I've been here, and I know what to do. So not even knowing what a heart chakra was, I made the motion of opening my chest. And when I did, my whole body started doing the same thing as the world around me. And then I look down at myself, and I can see right through my chest and my hips and my legs, and can see the concrete underneath. I look to the left and to the right at my arms, and they're fluttering. I mean, I didn't even really have arms. I had these rippling vibrational energy that I was a part of. I got pretty scared and backed out of the experience, thinking, what if I can't rematerialize? And told a few people about it, and they all thought I was crazy, of course, but one of them referred me to a friend who had studied Reiki, and he says, no, you're not crazy, you're just waking up, you're experiencing energy. And then I was like, oh, energy. And so that was this whole idea. Like before, I thought the only way to experience miraculous things was to pray and have God answer. And now with this whole energy concept, like, you can produce miracles on your own. And obviously this is where God wanted me to go, or I wouldn't have been given that experience. And so for about a year and a half, I was trying to find the gateway back into that experience, because I really regretted that I got scared, because that was basically an invitation to a full-on ascension. If I wouldn't have backed out, I would have completely gone to a whole other place. And eventually I just found it, and when I wasn't really trying, I was just vegging out, looking at an index card from a magazine, like this, just looking at it, and I just blanked out my focus. And the next thing I know, that rippling rainbow light started coming off the card, started coming off into the air, and I could literally see that my hand was more solid than the card I was holding, more solid energy. So I was clearly forming the card that I'm holding, and then the energy around the card was even less solid. So it was like my hand was the candle, the card was the flame, and the air was the aura around the flame, which confirmed what I had heard from a book, the Seth material, which says that we form our reality, that we literally create it. So then I had the gateway to clairvoyance, to be able to see energy, and I just played around for a whole year, spending all of my time, get home from work, and I just put on my pajamas, open up my clairvoyance, and play, study, take notes, make observations, see how it all fits in. And eventually I had a major breakthrough. At first, my experience was that I'm this small little being inside of a vast sea of energy. And then one day while I'm in the energy, a part of my inner self comes in, sort of like a channeling. And I just said, I'm not the physical body, I'm the light that flows out of it. And when I said that, all of the light that was around me, all the energy collapses inward on me like a dying star. And then it hits the center and it goes bam and splashes back out. And ever since then, my interpretation wasn't that I'm this small little being in a sea of energy, but rather that I'm the source of every single thing that I experience. And it wasn't long after that that I gained a mental presence in the energy. So the same way that we feel inside of our body and can control it, my mind was everywhere out in the energy. And I learned that I could go inside of other people's bodies and move them around. I learned I could move the wind, move the water, change the weather, you know, all sorts of things. And I traveled around teaching and healing for a while, you know, quit my job and knew I had an important mission because I have demonstrable metaphysical gifts. And I ended up with my current partner, Francesca, who I'm with now, and she says, look, this is amazing stuff you're doing, and you need to formalize your teachings and make a website. And so we did that. I made a whole course series and a social networking forum, and that was the start of Avatar Energy Mastery Institute. And here we are today with hundreds of students from all over the world and multiple radio hosts. Like you will be the 4th radio show host now that's met us in person and can vouch for our abilities, that we're the real deal. And we're just, it's growing, you know, it's like a fire, it's like an avalanche, and I'm just very happy and very honored to be playing the role that I am.
Wow, that's an amazing story. Yeah, and like you said, it's all about experience, and I've experienced it, and I've seen the. It's not just like you were saying. It's about powers. Once you feel the power, you know what's possible. But it's not just about the power. So, can you tell us a little bit about how, like, if you can take it, you know, some people might even take it in a negative way. Like, you know, if you have a power, you might want to misuse it or do anything with it. So, how do you deal with that kind of a situation?
Well, for one, it's a complete illusion of the ego that we are separated from our external reality. It's an illusion because our consciousness is locked into the 5 senses, the fixed vibrational range. But we all of us are really connected, overlapped electromagnetically, and actually every single human is manipulating the air, the water, the weather, each other to some degree. They're just not consciously, you know, aware of what's going on. But when you awaken and you start doing it on purpose, like we have 100 times more of an effect than a person who isn't aware that they're connected does. So it's very profound. So basically the world around us is an extension of our body. That's just the truth. I mean, it just is. That's nature. That's natural. Mm-hmm. So for us to think that we don't have a right to move or manipulate or shape this part of our body is as ridiculous as saying that we don't have a right to exercise our physical body and grow muscles and learn how to use it properly, because right. The soul is an inseparable part. It's part of our anatomy, okay? Yeah. And the soul, as you saw at the retreat, is one with all things. So we just have to overcome this level of fear that humanity's currently in. And, you know, look back 200 years ago, they thought it was a sin and evil and bad and wrong to medically study the human body. And they thought the doctors were committing evil satanic acts by dissecting people after they were dead. And, you know, obviously that was a bunch of hogwash, and medicine has advanced. You know, we've had great advancements because of it. So for us to say that we shouldn't study, learn, and understand and master our soul abilities is as ridiculous as saying that we shouldn't understand in our minds and our bodies. So, you know, that being said, there's a great balancing force in the universe. So if you use your interconnectivity to all things for negative things that do not serve the whole, well, the universe has its own way of teaching you lessons, and it's no big deal. You know, it's all unconditional love. We're all eternal beings. So, you know, I've had my power peaks where I got into God mode and and started abusing my powers, and the universe gave me a little spanking, and I stopped. You know, it's no big deal.
Yeah.
And eventually, you just learn to be in harmony with everything, because it's all an extension of yourself. So
Yeah.
I feel what other people are feeling, so why would I harm another? And they're an intricate part of me, I'm an intricate part of them. So why would I want anything except the furthering of their growth and their development? So the universe has its own natural way of turning you into a positive being once you become connected to the energy.
Right, right. And related to that, what kind of transformations have you seen in your students, both online and in your live events? Like, what are some of the components of transformations you've seen there?
I mean, incredible levels. We've had people come to us with zero level of understanding, just physical reality, nothing else, never had an out-of-body experience, never felt energy. Within weeks, all of a sudden, they're, oh my God, I can feel it. I can feel the electromagnetic energy. And then, oh my God, I can see energy everywhere. And oh my God, I woke up inside of my dreams. Oh my God, I projected out of my body. Oh my God, I can do telekinesis. You know, it's endless fun, because we get to be, like, when you discover these things for the first time, it's like, oh my God.
Right.
You know, superpowers are real. You know, everything we've ever dreamed of as a child is a real possibility, and that high is better than any other high there is. But you know, it wears off like anything. You get used to it. However, when you're teaching, aiding others, you get to be with them as they ride that high for the first time. So it's like, wow, you get to be a part of their wow factor. So it's ceaselessly amazing. I mean, we've had older women join our course that are sort of timid in nature, you know, not the typical type that would end up empowered. And, you know, like 3 months into it, a master teacher that we currently have, she's a teacher in the course, Terry McHugh, like 3 months within, she was like, I'm not having any success, and my son is having all this success, and, you know, I don't know if I can do this. And I said, look, doing the exercises equals getting the results, period. Just keep it up. Some people learn slower, some people learn faster. It doesn't matter. It's not a competition. It's all about the journey. So she stuck with it, and 2 months later, she's like, oh my God, I did it. Success on this, success on that, success on this, success on that. And basically, she went from a singular dimensional consciousness, you know, an earth-based consciousness, to a multi-dimensional telekinetic energy master, and she is extremely empowered and empowering other people, and you know, that's tremendous. And we've had people come in with weight problems. There's a typical student that came in. He was, you know, pretty decently overweight, and as you already know, we have a section in there on ascension diet, the right types of foods to eat, as well as bodybuilding with your mind. And basically, we teach a technique to run a vibration through your pituitary gland, which is responsible for secreting human growth hormone. And when you do that, you can regulate your flow of human growth hormone, and it's almost like taking shots of natural steroid, and you start to lose fat, you start to gain muscle mass, and you can use your mind to mentally shape your body into how you want it to look. Well, he went from being rather obese to being firm and fit and muscular within a month and a half. And of course, you know, that turned his entire life around. You know, we've had people come in with stuttering issues that can't speak, and then they open up their throat chakra, and then they can speak with power and authority. And it's just wonderful. I mean, the list, I could take up the whole radio show with success stories.
Right. And you talked about the lessons online on your website. And can you tell us a little bit about, like, if somebody signs up at your, and first of all, why don't you tell us about your website, the domain, website name,
sure.
and what kind of classes you offer and how people can join in?
Well, our website is avatarenergymaster.com or avatarenergymastery.com. They both lead to the same place. We teach a series of online courses and a social networking forum, so it's similar to Facebook. You have your own page. You can private message each other. There's an instant chat bar, and we have a series of video lesson exercises that you watch. You do the exercises, and then if you have a question or a success or a story to share, you just make a post just like Facebook, and then all of the teachers and the students can dialogue on the post. So it's like a whole social networking forum, extended family support system, and the teachers are dedicated full time, to answering the students' questions. And we also do live web seminars for the students every Saturday for all 3 levels of the course. And as you know, we offer physical retreats 4 times per year, and it's amazing. I invite everybody to check it out, avatarenergymaster.com. Watch our demonstrations, and if you're skeptical, look, watch all of our demonstrations. All we're trying to suggest is that perhaps this might be real. A video demonstration can't prove anything to you. We've got magicians that can walk on water and levitate, but we know it's fake. So what's a video demonstration going to prove? We don't expect you to be convinced by watching the videos. However, the video should be convincing enough to make it worth your time to register for the 7-day free trial.
Yeah.
Simple, right? We have a 7-day free trial. Then you can join the course, see if you get results, dialogue with the other students, and you'll see hundreds of students from all over the world that keep paying their monthly subscription, and they wouldn't be doing it, if it wasn't real. And from there, the monthly subscription is only $29 a month. I mean, $1 a day. Anybody can afford $1 a day. If you're a smoker, smoke 5 less cigarettes. If you eat food, most people spend $10, $15 a day on food, and they eat too much. Eat a little bit less food. I mean, it's a price that anybody from any economical standpoint, can afford.
Yeah, definitely. And how does a student progress? Because you said that, and I have experienced it. There's 3 levels of the course. How does a student progress?
Well, we have the Awakening course, and that's the start. Now, most people, when they come to us, they see the abilities we do, and that's what they're most interested in. And there's other websites, telekinesis websites, and like, how do you do it? Okay, you set up this chi wheel, and you start going pushing energy, and it's completely backwards. You have to be connected first. So the first things you have to learn are the feminine spiritual skills. You have to learn reception, perception, and sensitivity, because you have to feel something as being a part of yourself in order to have an effect on it. An analogy I always like to use, if you sit on your leg the wrong way and it goes numb, then you stand up and try to walk, what happens? You can't move your leg, right? Yeah. If you're sleeping on your arm like that and your arm goes numb and you wake up in the middle of the night, you can't move your arm. You got to grab it with the other one and flop it.
Oh yeah, so I have to do that every night.
How can people expect to have a telekinetic effect on their external environment until they feel it as being a part of themselves? So what they rapidly learn in the Awakening course is that, oh my God, the abilities are just a side effect, and the true miracle is gaining this sensory connection to all life, to all things. I mean, that's the greatest miracle. It's like being on the best drug there is, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and this drug promotes health, well-being, and evolution. You feel the atoms and molecules in the air as a part of your being magnetically. You feel the earth beneath your feet as being an extension of you. You feel the sunlight, not just where it touches your skin, but all through the air and in every molecule of your body, because what you learn to do is tune your consciousness to the electromagnetic spectrum, which everybody knows passes through matter. So once your mind is unified with the electromagnetic spectrum, you become one with all things, and it's priceless. So that's the first level, and most people, it takes them, anywhere from 2 weeks to 3 months. The worst case scenario I've ever seen is 6 months to make it through the Awakening course and have success on all the lessons. And then in the advanced course, we begin working a little bit. We introduce some masculine skills, and this is building soul mass. So now that you can perceive and feel the energy and see it, now it's a matter of building the nerve fiber system to be able to hold more and more soul mass, which makes your level of magnetism and your level of vibration stronger and stronger. So we teach ramp up power building exercises, and we introduce them to basic telekinesis, aerokinesis, pyrokinesis, hydrokinesis, how to move light objects, how to move wind, water, and fire. Then we have the Mastery course, which is very high-level stuff, like the most advanced metaphysical material ever presented. We've got sections in there on how to time travel with your consciousness. So for that, I mean, we're not teaching you how to take your body into other times. Your body stays here, but you can go left or right through the time stream with your consciousnness and view the current course that you're on. You know, it's amazing. I've been all the way back with the dinosaurs and everything. It's you know, it's straight up amazing. We teach weather control in the mastery section. We teach how to heal and activate others, because as a telekinetic energy master, you gain the ability to project your consciousness inside of the body of another person, merge with them telepathically, and take them into this experience. Like as you saw at the retreat, I was able to just put a little finger on either side of your head, you feel me inside of you, and then I can, you know, expand you out. So basically what the mastery course is for people that want to evolve all the way and have a career as an energy teacher, because the world is going to need lots and lots of energy teachers. And if you make it through the mastery course, you're going to gain certification as a certified practitioner. You're going to have a page on our website, and your demonstrations will be listed next to ours. And basically, as a certified practitioner, you will be able to take people out of their body, lift them right up and out of their body. You'll be able to merge them with the exterior environment. You'll be able to perform various forms of telekinesis. You're going to be able to prove your abilities to anybody, which basically means you're going to have no shortage of students in your local area eager to learn and clients eager to receive healing sessions from you. So it's a very logical and valid path to a career that can earn a nice middle-class income. And from there, opportunities are open for them to become a teacher on the forum, and you know, we select based on merit.
Right. So can you give us an example of what kind of lessons, like maybe one lesson you can tell us, and maybe give a demo a little bit of how you practice it, so people know what we're talking about?
Sure. I would say the lesson in the awakening course that people have the greatest success with would be our mirror meditation. And what you learn in this is the basic gateway to clairvoyance. Most of the people listening will be familiar with the symbol called Vesica Pisces in sacred geometry. It's two circles interjoined. For those unfamiliar with it, I'll draw it real quick.
Yeah, I think that will help, yes.
Forgive me, I'm not that good of an artist, but it's basically
yes, I see it, right.
Two circles joined in the middle.
Yeah.
Now, that's a symbol. That's a consciousness gateway symbol. And actually, if you look close, you can see where they got the Jesus fish. You know, the Jesus fish symbol. If you just cut off parts of it, that was a symbol, you know, because this symbol is the gateway to all things, because what it represents is your two mind hemispheres, the two halves of your mind. And when those two join together as one, your singular, or your inner eye, opens up and you can see energy everywhere. And, you know, it's even in the Bible, if thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. And, you know, that's what that means. It's a riddle, it's a code. So by using this visual symbol, one of the first things you learn in the awakening course is how to overlap your five senses. So there's only one sense, and that's vibration. We've learned to interpret it 5 different ways, but we teach an exercise, a critical exercise, to where you can interpret a vibration any way you want. In other words, you can be looking at something, and instead of just registering it in your sense of sight, you can register through your sense of touch, which means all of a sudden you can feel clouds by looking at them. You can feel a tree by looking at it, or you can look at a tree and smell it instead of just see it. And scientifically, this is possible because we have a cortex in the very center of our mind called the thalamus, and that works in conjunction with the pineal gland. They're located very close. The thalamus receives a vibration from any sensory input, and then it dictates where that vibration gets sent to. So if a vibration comes in through your eyes, it first goes through the thalamus. Thalamus says, oh, that's a vibration in the rainbow spectrum, and sends it back to your sense of sight. Well, you learn how to intercept those signals and go, you know what, we're going to send that to the sense of touch. So basically you learn how to feel with your eyes, and once you understand that, then you can use this Vesica Pisces symbol to shape your own soul field. So you learn to look in the mirror, use that symbol, merge your mind hemispheres, and the next thing you know, you're seeing a glowing aura of light all around you. And you start to see rippling, fluctuating energy. And then if you go deeper into that, if you don't get too astonished by what you witness, you can actually begin to shapeshift in the mirror and see and integrate your past and future lives. And you've had success with it, and so you know
Oh,
you know
yeah,
what I'm talking about.
definitely. Oh yeah, I most of those exercises I've done, and especially in the basic course, and they're very powerful, I must say. And I've had pretty decent amount of success with those, so I really recommend it to people out there. And I remember you mentioned a few times about the sensory overlap between the sight and the sound. So can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of people that are going to be listening to this that are going to identify with this. A lot of people hear high-pitched ringing in their eardrums, and they don't know why. They think it might be a medical condition, tinnitus, and this and that. It's not. It's your consciousness is beginning to flower. You're actually starting to overlap the senses. Now, this is sort of an advanced sensory overlap, but a lot of you might have success with it. What you'll notice is if you really pacify your mind and go into a very calm, passive, receptive state and start hearing that tone in your ears, you can try looking at different objects, and you will notice that the tone will change slightly depending on what you look at. So if I'm looking at the selenite crystal, the high-pitched tone is going to sound slightly different than if I'm looking at this pen or if I'm looking at the wall or whatever. So you start realizing, oh my God, I'm actually hearing with my eyes. So you're actually learning how to hear light, which leads into telepathy, which is what we teach in the mastery course. But yeah, that's very profound, and it's going to lead to some very serious developments in the human consciousness. For those that are familiar with the Seth material, very famous entity channeled in the 60s and 70s, he actually said that the Egyptians had mastered inner sound and that they built the pyramids by merging with inner sound and using their psyche to levitate, the blocks and stuff. So, we haven't developed that far yet, but opening the senses in this way leads to some extremely advanced feats. I mean, it leads to a paradise perception of reality. That's the main thing, because all of a sudden you're walking in the park, it takes on a whole new meaning. You're feeling the sunshine. You are the sunshine. You're feeling the birds chirping. You're smelling the trees without being near them. It's rich, deep, sensual experience, but it leads to some very high-end abilities too. When my switches first turned on with this sensory overlap, I was doing a meditation sitting on my bed, and I'm expanding my soul mass, which is something else we teach at the same time. Next thing I know, I smelled my laptop that was plugged in over in the corner, like I smelled the circuitry of it inside of my head. And when I did, because my soul was expanded, all of a sudden all the air around me starts, a dense fog of static electricity appeared, and then it started like sizzling and popping with these little sparks and even little bits of fire, and I was like, oh my God. And it's freaked me out. I didn't want to burn my house down, so I tried to hide under the pillow, and I tried to block it out, and it kept happening. So I had to run outside, to get away from it. Now, I haven't tapped into that type of ability. There's a lot of things, it's important to understand, everybody, that there's a big difference between what you have done and what you can do. And I say that because I see way too many teachers out there offering classes on how to teleport objects, how to dematerialize your body, how to do some very advanced feats, yet they don't offer demonstrations. And don't be fooled. There's a very real reason that they don't offer demonstrations, and it's not because they don't have a big ego. It's not because there's rules against it. Actually, the general collective right now says demonstrate. Everybody needs to demonstrate. Everybody needs to know spirit. It's because they can't do it consistently. You tap in. You have rare moments of extreme connection where you get a glimpse of what is possible, but then it's up to us to nurture that connection, to learn, to get to that point. on a consistent basis. Otherwise, I would be teaching classes in how to stop time and how to summon animals out of thin air, which I have done, but nothing that can be repeated. The things that we show in the video are things that we can repeat at any time, you know, moving the wind, changing the weather, and projecting inside people's bodies and things like that. But, you know, we're a blossoming consciousness. Humanity has just opened up its psychic abilities as a whole. So, you know, we need to go one step at a time, and that's what we're doing. We're taking that first step.
Wow, that sounds great. Can you also tell us a little bit about, you mentioned the pineal gland. So, you know, a lot of people talk about the third eye awakening and the pineal gland. So what are some of the things people can do, especially related to the food? Because, like you mentioned, food and what we intake in our body affects, you know, our mental and spiritual bodies too. So what can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I mean, first thing I like to say is stop being fearful. I mean, you know, about fluoride and about government conspiracies and all these things they're doing to dumb down our bodies. Look, if a soul wants to wake up, it's going to wake up, and nothing in heaven or hell is going to stop it. So, sure, it pays to pay attention to health, and we do teach the right diet, but it's not critical. It's not. The only thing stopping you from waking up is you. The Illuminati aren't stopping you from waking up. The fluoride isn't stopping you. It's our own selves that's stopping us. But the pineal gland basically has rods and cones in it, just like our physical eyes do. And it's an organ we have in the center of our head that's already geared or manufactured to sense or interpret vibrations that are above or below the physical spectrum. So that's what makes it miraculous. It becomes the initial gateway for us to bridge the gap between the physical sensations and the energy spirit sensations, because it's a physical organ. It also secretes a or a chemical called dimethyltryptamine, which is basically the most powerful hallucinogenic there is. Which you end up discovering there's no such thing as a hallucination. People are really just piercing through the quantum veil of reality. But it's basically DMT gets released when we're having a lucid dream. It gets released when we have miraculous experiences like prayer miracles. And there's been, you know, intensive studies on doing it. But what you learn is how to gain a conscious presence in the pineal so you can release the DMT at will, so that you can go into hyper accelerated states of consciousness whenever you want. And I want to state one last thing on that is that, look, the third eye or the inner eye, it doesn't have a location. The pineal gland just helps you discover your ability to see without your eyes. Once you truly open up your inner eye, you can see from the heart, you can see from your hand, you can see from your foot, you can see up there. So, you know, that I see a lot of posts and people overcomplicating things and going, oh, no, wait, the third eye isn't there, or you shouldn't use your third eye, you need to use your spirit eye, which is up here, and or the negative aliens, they mess with that one, you got to shut down, you know, just a bunch of... I want to say this as nicely and respectfully as I can. If a teacher cannot or will not demonstrate their abilities, you should not be studying with them. That's as silly as like studying with a scientist who can't prove his theories, or a mathematician whose formulas don't add up. What this is creating, having all these teachers out there that really aren't qualified to be teaching, is causing a lot of confusion and fear. And I'm not trying to put anybody down. This is just straight truth. We've got too much half-founded, non-solid, non-foundational information out there that's putting people into a lot of fear. You know, you can't just have 3 out-of-body experiences and then all of a sudden you're qualified to teach about how multidimensionality works. It takes thousands of out-of-body experiences before you truly understand, because people are going out into these light realms, which are echoes of this one, and they're getting all this astounding information. Oh my God, on March of 2013, the Earth's going to turn into a sun. The ETs are landing. You know, all these outlandish things, and we've all seen they don't come true.
Yeah.
Because we are the source of the light realms, just like
Yeah.
a candle flame. So by having
Mhm.
thousands and thousands of out-of-body experiences, you come to realize these things. You know, you can get glimpses of possibility, but we create reality from the inside out. And once that's seen and experienced, you know, then all the fear factor goes away, because you realize that if you're in fear, you're going to experience fearful things. You get rid of the fear and you're going to experience positive things, and it's that simple.
Right, right. And that brings me to the topic of collective consciousness. I remember in one of your lessons you talk about, because when we say we are creating reality, some people think that, oh, you know, if something goes outside in the world, and okay, they think they get guilty about it. They're like, oh, what did I do? What did I do? And
Right.
then you realize it's not just you. I mean, we have an individual consciousness, but there's a collective
Yep.
consciousness too that's taking care of things outside, and we don't have to like blame ourselves or take the credit ourselves for everything, right?
Absolutely. Well, the first thing to understand here is that Earth is a sovereign sphere of collective consciousness. We as humanity are Earth itself, and we are collectively creating a reality from the inside out. uh, Extraterrestrials, demons, they don't, you know, anything exists that you can imagine in some dimension, but they don't have any authority over our reality. Nothing does. This is our reality. This is our collective, and things can only come in here by our invitation, by our own free will. And
Mhm.
so there's a lot of trickery going on. Like, they try to make us believe that they have that type of authority, and that's what makes it possible, but they really don't. And nothing, anything, any external negative consciousness is ever going to do, is ever going to work to trick us, because we have an inner layer, our collective consciousness, already. Our egos just aren't aware of it, and we're fully aware from that level of our full power and capabilities, and nothing can mess with us. Now, that being said, to fully understand collective consciousness, you have to understand space and time. This whole we're all one. And
Right.
it's actually very simple. Uh, Everybody's familiar with what a standing wave is. It's like, you know, you have a guitar string suspended, and it's vibrating. You know, woo, 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 a singular wave.
Yeah.
That's how a reality is formed. So, some people have called it the Om, or the, you know, the original sound pulse, the tone that of
Right.
God, the, you know, that made everything. Well, we have this eternal energy coming out of a core, and it's a spherical ball of eternal energy. Now, we as consciousness are within this sphere, and that's how we experience reality. Now, a singular tone produces an endless series of harmonics and lighter vibrations progressively. So that's how we have physical matter, and then we have water, which is an echo of physical matter, and then we have air, which is an echo of water, and then we have the ether, which is an echo of the air. So anyhow, that being said, our brain is what is creating the illusion of space and time, because really there's just this spherical wave of energy, of pulsing energy. That's the
Right.
truth. That's the reality. But our bodies, the brain and the five senses, the neurons and the nerve fiber structure, creates and paints this beautiful picture of space and time. But what we're doing to experience this, experiencing the separation, is our brain is doing it automatically. So the tiniest, slightest variance in vibration is telling my brain that I'm sitting in this chair and you're sitting in that chair in California. But that's an illusion. We're both inside of that same spherical ball of vibrating energy,
Yeah.
perfectly overlap, but we're just tuned to a slightly different vibration. So it seems like we're occupying different space, but all time and all space is in overlap. And so when you expand out into the unified soul field, you realize that we are all one. I'm inside of you, you're inside of me, so on and so forth. So we have a collective guiding consciousness already, just at a layer that people aren't aware of. And nothing happens on earth outside of the will of that collective consciousness. So if you do tap into some serious energy and you accidentally create a hurricane, you know, then that was meant to be. If it wasn't meant to be, collective consciousness would just say, you know what, psh, dissolve, because this is our reality. You know, it's that simple. All of the earth reality, all realities, it's a divine symphony of perfection. There's no such thing as a negative experience. Everything is love and everything is growth. A negative experience is just a pathway to growth. We are just learning exactly what we need to learn at exactly the right time, to where we can begin to trust our egos to have more and more power. And you know, we're cleansing ourselves, we're purifying, we're learning critical things. We are eternal beings. We are eternal souls. Souls don't feel pain. Souls don't die. So if you get rid of pain and you get rid of death, what now is the definition of evil? How,
Right.
it doesn't exist. So it's
Yeah.
like, you know, we're people need to just calm down and realize and come into unity with the source, and all things begin to make sense.
Yeah, I agree to that. There's no good or bad, positive, negative. I think what it comes down to really is self-empowerment. Like if we know we are creating the reality and we are everything, and then we are self-empowered, right? But I think the only problem comes in when people, like for example, whatever Illuminati or whatever they call the negative entities, if it tries to, let's say, invade my space or comes in and tries to tell me something negative, and if I don't do something about it, then then you have to think about what's happening. Is, am I doing this? Is he doing it? Then I think that's where the positive and negative comes in, when somebody tries to take your power away without asking you. Do you have anything to say about that?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's quite natural. You have the right to defend yourself. You know, if somebody comes up to you, throwing their fists at you and wailing on you, you know, you of course have a right to defend yourself. Well, it's the same thing with, you know, with the psychic connection. If you get a psychic attack, you just fight back, and you win every single time. And I'll tell you why.
Mm-hmm.
Source is in the center. Okay. It's within. So the further within you go, the closer to source you get, the closer to your core that you get, the closer to your core that you are, the more you are creating reality. In order to project your consciousness to somebody else through the illusion of space and time, you have to project out of your core. Go away from your core and towards their core. So in other words, by the time you arrive at them, you're further away from your source. So you don't have any power, any energy compared to them. The only way that psychic attack can be effective is if the person is completely unaware of their own power. So if an entity comes into me with a psychic attack, it's like, are you joking? I'm in my core. You're projected way out, so I'll just dice you up and spit you out into 1,000 pieces, and that'll be the last time you'll ever do it, you know?
Yeah, so it'd be kind of like a dream, like anything is possible in a dream, right? And then once you wake up, you realize, oh, it was nothing. So it's something like that.
Yep, there's that, and you know, you go through your spiritual warrior phase. That's a part of waking up. But once you really master your energy, and you've embraced your inner warrior, meaning that you no longer are afraid to fight. You've seen that you can do these things. You know, that integrates your red energy, integrates your orange energy. Once you realize you can do these things, you no longer feel the need goes away. It's just like martial arts. When you get so good at martial arts and fighting, you know, the wise Chinese masters always saying you train martial arts to not have to fight, because once you know you can win, you know, there's no reason. And then when you really learn to tune to the right energy spectrums, you're quite simply not going to experience any psychic attacks. That stuff gets opened up by people being indoctrinated through conspiracy theories, stuff that pulls them into that fear vibration, which opens them up to the vibration where that type of activity takes place. But we teach a simple meditation right away in the awakening course to master the adrenal glands, which are associated with the solar plexus. They're right above the kidneys, you know, right there, and that creates the adrenaline. Now, to explain a little bit further, I'll sit back. Almost everybody runs their adrenal energy improperly, okay? So that they tend to have that energy go down into their stomach. It slips down. And when it does that, you feel fear, doubt, anxiety. I mean, everybody just take a moment and think about all the times you felt fear, doubt, and anxiety. These are stomach-level sensations, right?
Yeah.
So you just learn to gain a conscious presence in your adrenals, and then you connect it to breath, you raise it up to the heart, and splash it out. And what was once fear, doubt, and anxiety becomes health, vigor, vitality, you know, force, and it like fuels your heart, and your heart becomes like twice as powerful. So it's just a few simple key understandings, and you know, everything just harmonizes, man. It's no worries all around.
Yeah, exactly. So once you realize you are everything, and then you can feel it, then there's no stopping from there, right? And that's when experiences like astral projection are, you know, they become easy. Can you tell us a little bit about astral projection and what's the difference between lucid dreaming and astral projection?
Sure. Okay, well, there's really not much difference. And by the way, everybody goes out of their body every night when you go to sleep. When this body goes to rest, your soul goes into other dimensions and densities of energy. Everybody is soul traveling. The reason why most of you guys don't remember is because you have to pass through the veil to get back to the body. Now, what is the veil? Well, very simple. It's nothing mystical. The veil is the structural and vibrational difference between your brain, yourself as you know yourself in the brain, and yourself as you know yourself in the electromagnetic soul mind. So these structures are slightly different, and the vibrations are different, and thus there's a veil. So when your consciousness shifts from the brain to the electromagnetic soul body, it goes unconscious. It goes dark, you know, because it's passing through from one thing that's foreign to the next, and thus we don't remember. Like we fall asleep to leave our bodies, right?
Yes.
Well, when you're out of body, to get back to the body, you have to pass through the veil again. So you literally fall asleep from out there to get back in here. So what we teach is a series of exercises to get your brain in tune with your electromagnetic soul mind, which begins to make the veil thinner and thinner and thinner. And then you just start to find that you start waking up inside of parallel realities. It just hits you, you know, you get fused into it. So really all a lucid dream or an out-of-body projection is becoming multi-dimensional, because you're already traveling out of body, but it's a singular dimensional experience. Just like when you're on Earth, you're not aware of your soul. Well, when you're in your soul, you're not aware of your Earth body because of the veil. But when you get the two in tune, then your brain can start to act like a recorder. So now you're in two bodies at once. You're in your physical body, and you're also in your spirit body. So it's like you're recording the data and actually getting it into the brain, which causes you to remember. Now, the only difference between an astral projection and a lucid dream is that astral projection is consciously passing through the veil, projecting out, whereas a lucid dream is just you realizing that you've passed through, you know, already. Another slight difference to be aware of is if you do astral project, you're going to make it to body level 2 every time, whereas if you lucid dream, you might wake up on it in an inner earth or a parallel earth realm, or what I call the spirit world. In the spirit world, you're in a light body, but it's still sort of heavy. You can levitate, but not very high. You can fly, but not very fast. You can't walk through walls. maybe have a little bit of telekinetic abilities. You know, it's like maybe 10 times more connected than the physical body, and that's usually the body that you achieve when you lucid dream. However, many people will make it to the solar or the astral. I call it the solar angel body, but it's been called the astral body. From, well, lucid dreaming, you can just snap awake inside of that body. But if you astral project, you bypass the spirit earth body and you go right into the solar angel body. In the solar angel body, you can fly at supersonic speeds. You're vibrating really fast. You can punch through Earth's atmosphere. You can visit other planets. You can walk through walls. You know, there's a whole other range of abilities available. And there's one stage after that too, an orb body, like basically the Merkaba that we teach in Mastery. So there's basically 3 different levels of spirit bodies.
Right. Wow. That's amazing information. And I'm sure for some people it might be a little bit too much information, but I'm sure once they join in, you have a systematic way to go about this. Like you have separate classes for lucid dreaming, for soul mass. In fact, I wanted to ask you, because in some of your classes you have the concept of soul mass. And can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. Soul mass is the amount of source energy that you're currently holding within your body. Now, an important thing you learn in the Awakening course is developing the nerve fibers. Now, just like when we lift weights, our muscles grow in size. When we channel or conduct amplified energy through our nervous system, the nerve fibers begin to grow in size in order to accommodate more and more of the energy that they're being asked to transmit. You know, it's simple body mechanics. So for the same reason that our muscles grow in size, our nerve fibers grow in size from doing focused energy channeling exercises. Now, the nerve fibers are physical representations of your spiritual channels. So your motor nerves are your sending channels, your sensory nerves are your receiving channels. So by doing these constant focused exercises, your sensory nerves get more and more sensitive and your motor nerves get more and more powerful. And then there's this magical point where your electromagnetic field becomes noticeable to your consciousness, and then you fuse with it. And that changes forever the nature of how you perceive reality, because you're no longer a physical-based being, you're now magnetic and vibration-based. And once you get to that point, the idea is to train to hold and constantly have more love and more light. Love is magnetism. Both outward and inward. And light is vibration. So when you have more light, you're able to emit a stronger signal, right? Which makes you a more powerful creator of reality. When you have more love, you have more magnetism, which means your ability to attract increases. Because, you know, attractive people that have a lot of love, people are drawn to them. Yeah. There's a reason for that. Their magnetism is doing it. It's the same force as gravity. Gravity is love. Now, there is an opposite of that with the magnetism. You can also repel. And the emotion that we have used to learn how to do that is hatred, anger, aggression. That's when you're throwing out and repelling. However, once again, you know, there's really nothing negative. Everything is love. Those emotions of hatred and anger and aggression have simply taught you how to do a repelling magnetic. So both are very important. If you don't want something in your reality, you got to learn how to repel. If you want to attract something, you got to learn how to attract. Now, I'm not going to call this a conspiracy, though I wouldn't doubt it, but I think there's a very good reason why we've only heard about the law of attraction and we've never heard about the law of repulsion, because law of attraction still leaves you in victim consciousness, because you're sucking in with an inward polarity. You're viewing that you're attracting or pulling everything to you, which makes you inwardly polarized, which means that people that are projectors can basically push anything they want into you. So really it was a way of programming sheep to get everybody thinking in terms of attraction. When you get good at repulsion, like if I'm looking on the internet and I see top government psychic reveals that California earthquake is going to collide or crash, and I live in California. Well, if I'm only doing attraction, then I possibly have the ability to manifest that if we're all attracting. But if we learn repulsion, we just go, no thanks, bump, push it out with just a slight repelling, magnetic. And I'm not going to say that attraction is complete victim consciousness, because you're only going to tend to attract that which you're in alignment with, but it's not absolute. If you're wide open and pulling an inward magnetic, then things can come to you. So it's about balancing. The outward is the masculine, the inward is the feminine, and both are important skills.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say that it's all about balance. And also, I know that you use technologies, I would call them technologies like crystals and magnets and things like that. So can you tell us how these kind of spiritual technologies can help a person grow?
Oh, big time. Once you learn that you're one with the exterior world, you learn what a great gift God has given to us in the physical body. Okay, by having our souls in the physical body, we automatically create this beautiful physical world, and we don't even have to try. Our eyes, our ears, our five senses automatically pattern it. However, the reason we're incarnating here is so that we can learn how to do it at the soul level, so that we can be immortal physical creators of reality. So basically what we're doing is what I call soul mapping. Now, once your switches turn on and you're able to feel things outside of your body as being a part of yourself, you realize these wonderful gifts that we've been given, like the sun. Once you realize you can merge with the sun, well, what does the sun have to teach you? Well, the sun teaches you how to glow and burn bright and emit powerful vibrations. What does the moon teach you? The moon teaches you how to attract and run pure white light. Well, you learn that you can merge with staffs, crystals, magnets, water. I mean, you can merge with anything, and then your soul or your inner intelligence maps that structure, maps that magnetism, maps that vibration. So I've unlocked some very advanced stuff with crystals that I haven't seen anybody else doing. I mean, you remember at the retreat feeling what I do with crystals is pretty profound. But basically, because I've trained my consciousness enough, I can project into density. So I can literally stick my mind inside of these crystals, inside of their physical shape, and these are solid. Like our souls already have a hard time in the physical body, in the nerve fiber system. Imagine how hard it is to squeeze your consciousness into that. Well, with a little bit of training, it's actually not that hard. But once you do, once you get your consciousness into the cellular structure of the crystals, they spring to life with a whole different type of energy than anybody experiences using crystals, and they become magnetic. They start repelling and attracting, and as you saw, we can hold sunlight inside of them, and we can vastly heat up a whole area or cool down a whole area. You can use this as a symbol to structure your body. So I can project my consciousness into this crystal, merge with its electromagnetic signature, and then use empathy, and all of a sudden my physical atoms and molecules start taking on properties of the crystal, which you remember feeling. And how did that feel to have that crystal vibration, inside of you?
Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, you feel kind of a oneness with the crystal. Like you said, you can project it out, and you can project the crystal out inside you, and felt very peaceful. That was
It's very profound. And what I've discovered is this quartz crystal here, that's an eternal bar of soap for scrubbing and cleansing your soul, because if you look, it's crystal clear, it's pure. So when you learn how to merge that vibration within you, you get that crystal clear, cool quartz vibration all the way inside you. Then you can just comb and caress all negativity out of you, and as you experience, what happens is anything negative inside of you gets burned. Like the crystals literally produce all these heat. Like when I do a crystal consciousness activation on a person that's got some inner work left to do. Like there's heat flashes, like boom, burn, burn, and their physical body starts emitting these smells, and that's their negative thought form patterns getting cleansed by the crystals. Once their patterns are cleansed to enough degree, the heat goes away and their body cools down to like 70 degrees to the temperature of the crystals, and they feel this blissful energy that is complete. I mean, I still have a hard time describing what it is like to crystallize your body. It's like the Garden of Eden. It's like unconditional love, forgiveness, and sexual ecstasy all combined into one feeling. It's amazing beyond belief. And when you learn how to merge the sunlight with that and trap it into the crystals and produce the heat like we were doing at the retreat. By the way, I've had an opportunity to experiment with that, and it healed skin cancer on a lady. It just,
Oh, wow.
she had a spot of skin cancer, and after I did this, it flaked off. Just like I theorized that it would, because you saw that by merging with the sunlight, I can heat up the air by like 5 or 10 degrees instantly, and I can heat up a person's body by like 5 to 10 degrees. Now with cancer, if it's heated rapidly by more than 3 degrees, it dies. So I've found a cure for cancer. It's just amazing the things we can do with the magnets. I got these right here. These are wonderful symbols of consciousness, these neodymium super magnets. I put one in each hand, I merge my consciousness with it, and then I make physical motions. I feel the magnetism, but I'm mapping this with my soul. I'm breathing its essence into me. I'm telling my physical atoms and molecules to become more like the neodymium magnets, which day by day makes me more and more magnetic, which is, why when you met me, you saw I can, attract and repel basically anything.
Oh yeah, and I must say you have to be careful with those magnets, because I remember I was holding them right there, and then I went too close, and I think my finger was out or something, and it went right there, and I hurt my finger.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to be careful with some of those things, I must say. Yeah, and also the sun gazing is another thing. I remember we were talking about it. And how would you say that sun helps us, emit light or absorb light or grow spiritually?
Well, like I said, it's an external symbol that we have an opportunity to soul map or to internalize. Like I explained before, the illusion of space and time, that everything's one and everything's overlapped. When you connect through the eyesight to the sun and connect it to your sense of touch, you can begin to internalize the sun. In other words, you can begin to pierce through the illusion that you are not the sun. I mean, that's a complete illusion. We're all one consciousness experiencing itself in all of these different parts. The parts are an illusion. They're a construct of the ego. So you find the sun inside of yourself, and next thing you know, you're burning from the inside out with brilliance. If you remember, we were making the birds chirp in the middle of the night, like at 2 o'clock in the morning, because we soul mapped the sun, and we're simulating that vibration. They think it's daylight. So all of these external symbols teach you crucial lessons. Water teaches you how to flow. Air teaches you how to blow. The stars teach you how to project. I mean, it's wood teaches you amazing things. Merging with the trees, that is ceaseless joy. If you put your hand on a tree and you start inhaling that tree's energy into you and surrendering your cellular structure, you start to feel like a tree. You feel woody, sappy, and rich, and green, and full of life and vitality. You can learn to heal physical tissue damage that way. When you learn to merge with stones and rocks, you can heal bone damage. There's it's still a constant discovery for me. There's so many different things to learn. Like I learned what fruits have amazing healing properties when you know how to merge consciousness with them, instead of just eating them and their nutritional value. That's great and all, but if you can merge with the vibration of the fruit and pattern your body after it, does amazing things, like a banana. If you have an upset stomach, you're queasy or you're sick at all you have to do is take a banana and hold it by your stomach and merge consciousness with it, put the banana's vibration inside of your stomach. Next thing you know, your whole stomach, all your intestines are smoothed out with that creamy texture of the banana, and you're not sick anymore. It's
Oh,
so
wow.
it's a constant discovery of beautiful things that we can use these exterior symbols for by internalizing them.
Right, right. Yeah, that's amazing. Also, can you tell us a little bit more about how, uh, psychedelics, like you mentioned DMT earlier, and then a lot of people talking about ayahuasca,
Hmm.
and how does that affect a person in three ways: physically, mentally, and spiritually? Because especially mentally, because I know that a lot of people get affected in a negative way
Yes.
through these psychedelics. So what would you say about that?
Well, first of all, they're called psychedelic, and then that term goes along with the term hallucination. The first thing to understand is there's no such thing as as a hallucination. Hallucination means not real. There's no such thing as not real. We're fifth dimensional beings on a different level, so anything that we imagine has a reality in a lighter level of energy. And not only that, but the typical things that people experience on hallucinogens is really their consciousness is accelerated and they're seeing the morphogenic energy everywhere. Now, I don't recommend these to people that don't understand energy. If you don't have a solid, firm, and grounded understanding of the five senses and how energy flows and how it all works, you're not going to get nothing out of it. Otherwise, we would already have a whole world full of
Yeah.
telekinetic energy masters, because tons of people are using psychedelics, but they're using them without the proper understanding of how things work. So that's the first thing I want to say is I don't recommend it unless you have a full, firm, and grounded understanding of how it all works, or you're not going to get much out of the experience. You're just going to go on a trip.
Right.
That being said, I also want to say that they're not necessary in order to evolve. You can take a completely natural path and use nothing but meditation, and you can achieve the same thing. However, it is important to note that the all natural path is to get your soul mass inside of yourself into the pineal gland and release DMT. So even the all natural path is hallucinogenic based. You're just
Right.
accessing your own chemical naturally. Now, um, I mean, once you have an understanding of how these things work, you can use hallucinogenics to break through barriers and reach new, higher, and greater levels of understanding. But A, it's not necessary, and absolutely necessary, and B, uh, there's a difference between a tool and a crutch. So if you're relying on something to achieve something, that's a crutch. So you got to make sure that the tool doesn't become a crutch. So um, based on the laws in your local area, we do have a video where we teach the proper use of sacred herbs, plants, and entheogens. And we, of course, don't suggest that you break any laws, but there are some very consciousness expanding herbs and stuff that are legal in many different areas, and these can be used with wisdom and prudence, and you can really crack through some serious high levels by simply understanding what it is that you're experiencing. And then the next thing you know, you've got the gateway. Just like I said, by merging with the sun, I can learn how to burn bright. By merging with the magnets, I can learn how to be magnetic. Well, by using the herbs properly, you can learn how to get to that gateway to where you no longer need the herb.
Right, right. That makes sense. And that, like you said, that also avoids the misuse, because some people, if they're not ready for it,
Right.
then they're more able to misuse it in a way,
Yeah.
because it needs, like especially with ayahuasca, it's kind of a ritual that people perform with shamans, and stuff like that, because it's more of a religious or a spiritual experience than just going on a trip.
Right.
That's why yeah, people generally recommend, preparing for it for at least a few weeks before you can even go do that, right? But I'm sure it does. Of course, we're not recommending that, but from what I've read so far, ayahuasca and DMT sometimes opens up your senses and your soul in a way, but again, there's a very high chance that either you may not be able to handle it, or it could be misused, because we open up in a way, and then there's more chances of entities or whatever you want to call it coming in and trying to take over or whatever. There could be many different scenarios, right?
Yeah. Yep. Two things to understand there is ancient indigenous societies have been using consciousness expanding herbs since the beginning of time to access the spirit world. This whole guilt factor, this feeling of wrongness that we have within us, was handed down to us by a generation of, I'm finding a hard way to say this nicely, but people like President Nixon, old walking dead men in black suits with red ties, whose agenda is to have us drink shitloads of coffee and go to work. They've put in this huge guilt factor, and it's totally false. Indigenous peoples have been using consciousness expanding herbs since the beginning of time. Now, it can be dangerous, like I said. If you don't know what you're doing, you could experience more than you're ready for. In the indigenous tribes, they knew what they were doing. They had the shaman, or the shaman of the tribe would take people through the experience. But we Westerners, we don't really understand those types of things, or we might not have a shaman or a guide. So if you don't understand what it is you're experiencing, then you're not going to get out of it. Like, you're not going to bring anything back.
Right.
You're not going to be telekinetic when you get back. You're not going to be able to see energy. So A, what's the point? B, you might crack through barriers that you're not ready for. You might all of a sudden find yourself in 5 places at the same time. Your consciousness dispersed through all these time streams, and there's crazy things that can happen, and if you're not ready for it, you can end up in the wrong time. You can forget that you even took a hallucinogenic. You could end up time traveling, and you're 8 years old all of a sudden, getting on a school bus when you should be 36, and you forgot you took the substance, and it can be really bad news. So it can scramble your psyche if you aren't ready to integrate the data. However, if you understand energy already, and you understand how consciousness can move through time, well, then you can use a herb like salvia to break through the time barriers and integrate the experience, because you're ready for it. You know the mechanics. You know how it works. And there is a danger of the negative entity psychic attack thing. I'll state again, though, all is one. We are all one consciousness. Experience itself as many different pieces. So these so-called negative entities are aspects of your own self. The so-called galactic wars, the angels versus demons, the reptilians versus the Pleiadians, all of these are echoes or emanations of our own consciousness, because we're a dual consciousness, and the war we are waging is inside of our own head. When we as humanity figure out and internalize reality, we're going to realize that the galactic wars, the angels and the demons, they're going to keep fighting until we stop fighting within our own selves. Earth is the universal embodiment. We all understand this through the channels. They've all told us that this is the universal embodiment, that all races of all consciousness are embodied here right now. And it's a resolving planet. We're resolving everything. Well, it just hasn't been understood all the way. We are creating all of it from the inside out. The higher realms, the light realms, the star worlds, they're all echoes or emanations from the earth consciousness. So every single one of you listening to this has an aspect on every single star world, and that's one thing you'll discover, in the course. Like, You know, you might think you're a starseed, and yeah, okay, sure, you're from the Pleiades, so am I. I've got a dude on the Pleiades, one of my guys I can shift consciousness to. We all do. I've also got one in that's an Arcturian. I've also got one in Andromeda. You know, I've got every single race there is. We all do. It's collective consciousness. So realizing you're a starseed, you know, that's one step ahead of thinking that you're just a human. But, you know, the next step is to realize that all is one. Everybody's true identity, truest identity, is the one infinite creator. And that's where we lead you towards, is into full unity with the source. And when you understand that, your identity starts to become every person, every place, every race, every time, every space. Everything. You know, that's who you are. You know, who am I? Well, all of it. You know, and we give you the practical tools to make that experiential, and that really solves the identity crisis issue that a lot of us are in. You know, you see people waking up, they're, oh my God, I'm Jesus, and they're speaking the truth. You know, but it's a very short-sighted truth. I mean, you're Jesus too. Hey, Jesus, what's up? we're all one, and some people think they're Lucifer. Well, that's just an aspect. You're also Archangel Michael. You know, we are all one consciousness experiencing itself in many different pieces, and your current ego is just adding a whole new personality to the whole paradigm, and that's how we paint it with beautiful different colors, right? That's how because we are all one, well, that's how we're less lonely, because I get to experience how does Michael Monk feel about being all that is, right? Because you're all that is, and I'm all that is. But how Michael Monk feels about being all that is different than how Lokesh feels about being all that is. So that provides color. It provides variety. You know, it's just beautiful.
What would you say? I think there's also a fear amongst people that what if we experience that we are everything, and there's no death, and we are immortal, and if we experience that, just like, you know, we were talking about DMT or psychedelics, if somebody takes it, if they're not ready, and they could just blow up their mind or whatever. But same thing with this experience of we are everything. So maybe, do you think there is there's a fear in people's minds, and that's why they don't pursue these things? That what if I experience that, and that would be too much to handle, right?
Well, the whole reason for all of the creation was to end the loneliness of the one consciousness. You know, it started out, it knew itself, it had infinite power and potential, but it was all alone. So it began fragmenting its mind. You know, literally like a human that would be alone on a stranded island making invisible friends, like literally no different. So the source, or all that is, began to fracture its psyche into pieces. And that's what we all are, as a fracture or a piece of that broken psyche. And the spreading apart came out of the loneliness, the pain, the horror of being all alone for all eternity. And when Source learned how to fracture its mind, and all of a sudden it wasn't alone anymore, it felt the greatest joy and ecstasy and triumph you can ever imagine. So we've got these two original pulses of primary energy running through us. We've got the horror, the nightmare, the loneliness of being all alone for all eternity as a primary pulse of energy, offset with the ecstasy of, I'm not alone anymore. You know, and so we all have that. And so when you tune to all that is, you can pick up on one of those two primary things. You can feel the horror, the loneliness. You can also feel, you know, the ecstasy. So there is an imprint, you know, deep within our ego that part of us doesn't want to wake up, because we don't want to remember that we're one again. But I can assure you that as many times as I've broken through these barriers and obtained planetary consciousness, like being everybody at the same time, at any time I can just come back and I'm Michael and you're still you, and it's like we're not alone anymore. The source is not alone. We have successfully divided, so it's time to remember our beautiful interconnection and raise the level of ecstasy, you know, just turn up the volume on the bliss and the joy. You're me, I'm you, but I'm also me and you're not me. You know, they're both true. Your individuality is protected. You know,
Right.
so we are one and we are also individual. It's a paradox. It's both are equally true.
Right, and then it probably comes down to breaking the ego, right? Because there's a ego that we call, the individual mind that wants to say, "Oh, this is me. I'm not you." But that's it comes down to breaking the ego, right?
Yeah, I don't like the term break though, because the ego is extremely important. If it wasn't for egos, God would be all alone again. So, you know, the ego is the part of us that's able to experience individuality. But, you know, so killing the ego, death of the ego, we don't vibe with any of that. We teach expand the ego, merge it with source, merge it with each other, merge it with nature, and begin to expand the ego's definition of self to include others. No death or
Right.
killing is necessary, just a flowering, a
Mm.
blossoming, an expansion.
Right, that makes sense. Yeah, it's just how you perceive it is how you will experience it, right?
Right.
Right. So we have about 18 minutes left in the show, and I wanted to ask you what are the future plans of the school and what's currently going on, and what have you lined up for this year?
Well, we have a mainstream documentary being released by a professional filmmaker. He's doing a film or a documentary on real life Jedis. And so we sort of, you know, we're a part of that. We're like half of it, and, you know, demonstrating our skills and telling our stories and relating the energy in Star Wars terms so that, you know, the mass people can understand it. So when that gets released, we're going to have an insane flood of students, you know, into the course. We're going to at least triple, quadruple, you know, how many students we have in the online course. We also plan to do a bunch of interviews this summer on really top-notch radio shows, and you know, that's going to cause a major influx. We're also starting a major advertising campaign for the first time. We haven't even advertised yet. You know, all the students we have is from word of mouth and from doing, you know, little interviews like this. And so by the end of the year, we are going to have enough funds to hire more teachers. So we're going to have about 10 paid teachers instead of 2 or 3 like we got right now. And we're going to have the money for a physical school location where, you know, those that want to take this seriously and make it a lifestyle and be a teacher, we can all live together in the same type of community where we're constantly training and practicing with each other, constantly demonstrating and filming the demonstrations, and then having retreat areas set up like bunkhouses and dorm rooms so that students can come, you know, they can join the online course, learn the basics, and then join us from anywhere in the world for weekend retreats, for 1-week retreats, for month-long retreats. And we're basically going to be offering a place where you can just come and leave your cell phone and the technology behind, and in a short period of time to complement the online learning, you know, anything that you haven't experienced yet, you will experience. Or if you haven't done the online course yet, you could just come to the physical location, you know. You don't have to be with us in person to train. We've had many students reach mastery level of abilities that, you know, and understanding just by training online. But obviously, if you're in person with a telekinetic and telepathic energy master, you know, we can ramp up your ability to experience things. So it's just going to be awesome. We're going to be building a soul family community and opening the doors to the general public.
Wow, that sounds amazing. And so I'm sure you have. Do you have any retreats planned as well this year?
Yeah, I'm doing a next retreat is in the United Kingdom. And that's going to be towards the excuse me, the end of August. If any of you people watching this are from the United Kingdom and you're interested in being a part of it, just friend me on Facebook, type in Michael Monk, and you'll know the one that's me. You know, you can just tell because my profile is all associated with energy. I think I'm the first Michael Monk that pops up, but I'm easy to find. Just befriend me on Facebook and then ask me to to add you to the AEMI United Kingdom retreat group, and that way you can stay posted or up to date on what we're doing, because we're still formulating exactly where we're going to hold it and exactly what type of event it's going to be. But to make sure that you get the news on that retreat and to help aid in the project if you want to, simply request to join that group on Facebook, and we'll work on it from there. After that, I'm going to go to Norway and do a seminar there, so that'll be early September. And then it looks like I'm going to be going to France after that, and Holland. I mean, honestly, what's happened, Lokesh, is after I did Constance, Germany, so many people want me in so many places that this little United Kingdom thing could turn into a worldwide tour. So I'm a family guy. I'm a homebody. I like to be at home. So I'm trying to, because if I let it, the world would tug me everywhere, and I'd be gone for months. But I'm at least going to do United Kingdom and Norway and just take it from there.
Wow, that's amazing. That sounds great. And before we end the show, do you have any positive things people can do, even if they don't join the course, what they can do in their lives to improve themselves?
You can believe in yourself,
Right.
Beliefs create reality, so you are shaping your own idea, image of who you are. So primary importance is the basic faith that you are a good person, that you are a loving person, that you are a powerful person, that you are a beautiful, good-looking person, that you are an intelligent person, you are a creative person. You must begin to program yourself with positive beliefs. Fake it until you make it. It works.
Yes.
It works. And
it worked for me.
Yeah, I mean, I will straight up admit I went through a very hard life. I'm an ex-heroin and methadone addict. I stopped using in 2007. In 2006, I tried 3 times to kill myself. And I mean, I tried. I didn't take a bunch of pills and call mommy. I did my best to die and failed. So I know the depths of pain. And once I realized that I simply couldn't die, that's when I had to start turning it around. So I like had to force myself to learn to love life, and I did it by mental programming. Choose to be reborn in this instance. Do a mind wipe. Instead of working through all of your beliefs to get the correct reality that you want, just believe in nothing. Wake up one day and say, I don't even know what color the sky is. I don't know what a sun is. I don't know what salt tastes like. Allow yourself to be reborn. Open the front door of your house and go, wow, look at the grass. You know what I mean? Truly be reborn. And another thing I want to recommend as far as creating your reality and making it positive is it's such a long process to work through all your beliefs and heal this past life. Past and future are an echo or an emanation from now. So all you have to do is feel good now. When you feel good, you automatically think positive beliefs about reality. If you feel good, you believe reality is good. It's that simple. So look, the course has a 7-day free trial. Even if that's all you do, you all need to sign up and do it. There's no excuse not to, unless you watch our videos and you just think we're an utter fraud, in which case, I must have hundreds of people that are just completely brainwashed or something.
Exactly.
They're intelligent people. I've got licensed and practicing psychologists and doctors in my course. And it's very practical. But do the 7-day free trial. You're going to learn how to connect your breath to energy, and you're going to learn how to master and unblock the major glands in your endocrine system, your thyroid, your thymus, your pineal, pituitary, your testicles, your ovaries, your adrenals. When you get all of these glands free-flowing and balanced, then you feel good. You have the right hormonal balance. all of a sudden, by feeling good, you start thinking positive thoughts about reality, and it all just starts compounding. Just by doing the 7-day free trial, you are going to learn enough techniques to completely turn your life around. And I will not be offended if you choose not to stay, but after you see what it's like, the community we've got, how real all of this is, I wouldn't understand how you wouldn't want to spend $1 a day to be a part of it. But if you don't, you know, namaste, God bless you. I still wish you the best, and thanks for checking us out.
Right, right. Yeah, I highly recommend that as well. And why don't you tell us your website once again and how people can contact you?
Sure, it's avatarenergymaster.com or avatarenergymastery.com. They both go to the same place. There's a contact form on there if you want to shoot me an email. If you want to add me on Facebook, just type in Michael Monk, and you know, I'm open. I still haven't reached the 5,000 Facebook friends limit, so I'm available. And even when I do, you can just click the follow button, you know, to stay in touch with me. And you can find our YouTube channel through the website and watch our demonstrations. It's amazing. We've got healing videos, a kid that stuttering that we healed on video. I got a lady that was deaf in her ear that I healed on video. We've got tons of videos of moving the wind, moving the water, changing the weather, and check it out. Like I said, we're only trying to provide enough evidence to cause you to believe that it might be worth your time to do the 7-day free trial, and then just take it from there.
Definitely, highly recommended. And with that note, Michael, it was great talking to you.
You too, my friend.
It's very inspiring to listen to your story and what you're doing to the, you know, what you're teaching. And I really am honored to be talking to you and to be friends with you, and looking forward to speaking with you again.
Yeah, the honor's all mine. I want to say that before I found energy and my ability to teach it, my life didn't have purpose, and my life has purpose now. I love my life. I love what I do. I'm in love with it. So I know you guys honor and respect and appreciate me for what I do. Well, I honor and respect and appreciate you for being a part of what I'm doing. My life is driven and charged with purpose, and I love life, man, and I didn't love life before. And I don't want to get all choked up, but thank you, brother.
Thanks a lot, Michael, and hope to talk to you again soon.
Oh, yes. Namaste, my friend.
Take care, Michael. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.